Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, I am Molly and I do pop book content here on YouTube. I apologise for the lighting. I'm sure it's giving you an indication of the fact that it is very late at night. I didn't have a chance to really film this. Also, I wasn't quite sure what to film. Initially, I thought, I'll do a book haul because I may have bought quite a few books, and there's also some leftover from like December-ish time that I didn't include because they weren't really Christmas gifts sort of thing. But then I saw this video from a fellow booktuber who I really like, and she did this tag, and I thought, well, now I have to do this tag. And I'm normally pretty bad with tags, especially if I've been tagged. I haven't been with this one, but she said it's also open to other people. So the haul for my books will have to wait. That will be coming maybe next week, or some other time. I don't know yet. Depends on if I decide to do something different. So yes, I'm gonna start with telling you who the YouTuber is and the tag. So this tag is an original tag. I don't need to be vague. I might be a little bit more haywire tonight. It is very late. When I say very late, it is very late, and I apologise for all of the shadow. It's the thing of having a big light on. So this tag was created by Morgan from Morgan's Endless Bookshelf. She's done quite a few different tags that she's thought up herself, as well as just other ones too. This one is one of the ones that she's thought up of. It literally just uploaded today as I'm filming, so it's Tuesday. I don't know what the date is. 10th? Something like that. Either way, it's Tuesday, and Morgan uploaded it today, or today-ish. I'm in the UK, she's in America, so it might not have been today for her. It might have been uploaded yesterday on Monday, but for me, I saw it today on Tuesday, so anyway, that's not important. So the tag that she did is the Barbie Movies book tag, and she loves Barbie movies. I love the Barbie movies. There's a lot I have not seen, and she has based it on at least the majority or some of the more famous, older, original-ish movies that first came out. So like Barbie In The Nutcracker, Rapunzel, 12 Dancing Princesses, that sort of years, I guess. Some of these I actually have not watched. Most of them I have, even if I've only watched them once. Because a couple of them I have only watched once. But yes, I love the Barbie movies, as I have said. And this month is, at least for some of us in the Christian community who like these, the short genre, it is, there's a readathon going on for fairytale retellings that's been hosted by Kay and her fellow co-host, which is once upon a February. Fays in, fairy tales, and brewery as in February. Pretty self-explanatory, and I'm joining in with it as a fellow Christian booktube watcher. So I thought, why not do this? I'll probably end up being the first one, which is unusual, but anyway, to do the tag after her. So yes, and interestingly, all but 2 of the books I have picked out for this are Christian, so that's really cool. I did try and pick ones that I liked or didn't mind showing, because some of the prompts I definitely could have used other books for, but they're not books I necessarily want to show, because I don't want to kind of necessarily recommend them. Oh, actually, is it 3? Sorry, it's 3 non-Christian books. Anyway, and not all non-Christian books I want to kind of show, because they're not I don't necessarily feel comfortable recommending them or showing them, and making people think, oh, she's talked about this, maybe I should give it a try, sort of thing. Because there's definitely prompts I could have used other books for. But these are the ones I picked. And I have put them in a pile of no particular order, so that's going to be fun. I think one of the books I don't have physically, so I'll have to show that on picture, but that's fine. So let's get into this. I'm really excited. When I tell you I was really excited, you can tell because she uploaded it today and I'm filming it on the same day. That's how excited I am. Anyway, let's get into this. The first prompt is Barbie in the Nutcracker, Barbie in the Nutcracker, and that is to pick a book with dancing. And that was quite hard to do, because I couldn't really think of anything, but I think I picked one that I seem to remember had some dancing in it, because that's the thing, I haven't necessarily read books actually based on dancing, or at least that I can remember looking at my books, like they're not dancing themed books sort of thing, if you know what I mean. That's not like I could have used a Nutcracker, but that would be a bit on the nose really, and also I don't remember there being any dancing in the original book. Anyway, I picked this one because I think I remember there being at least one scene where there is a little bit of dancing. So this one, because I'm pretty sure there was at least one scene where there was like a ball or something. And I decided to go for A Match in the Making by Jen Tuana. This is the first book in her matchmaking series, and it's a Christian historical rom-com, I think. Yeah, it was funny, so I think it's a rom-com. So I picked this for dancing because I'm pretty sure there was a scene where there is some dancing. There might be more than just one, but I'm pretty sure this opens, well, I don't think it opens, but I think pretty near the beginning there's a ball, if I remember correctly, because I think that's how the main character meets her love interest. So yeah, I picked that one, also because it's Regency, you know, balls. So I went for that one. The next book is Barbie In Rapunzel, and this is a book with a dragon. And this is the one where I don't have it physically. And it's actually a very, very recent read. I'm sure there's other books with dragons that I have read, but this is the one that most sticks out to me as one that I want to show. Saying that, I don't think I've really had any books with dragons. I have books in my I want to read, like general TBR that have dragons, but don't think I've really read any, or if I have, I don't remember. So this is the one that came in my head because it is very dragon specific. And that is A Thieving Curse by Selena R. Gonzalez, I think it's R. Gonzalez. She is a Christian author, but the book is more clean, but definitely has those Christian values and how you treat people, morals and stuff. It's a really good book. It's also a fairy tale retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and the Beast is a dragon. And on the cover, there is a dragon. And I thought that went pretty well. So I went for that one. It's a really good book. I laughed out loud at times. There's a character who's just really cute. He's so sweet. And he's just really funny because he's very talkative and just talks all the time, and it's hilarious. Because he has no filter, essentially, and asks these really awkward questions. And like another character is like, what? So funny. So yeah, that is the book I'm choosing for a book with a dragon. The next prompt is Barbie in The Princess and the Pauper, or As the Princess and the Pauper. I forget. It's The Princess and the Pauper one. Love that one. So good. Anyway, I just love the Barbie films. I haven't grown up. I'm 30 this year. Growing up, what is that? I don't know. So, The Princess and the Pauper, that prompt is a book with a hidden identity. And there's a few I could have used. for hidden identity, and the one that I picked specifically is a bit more vague, I guess. Not vague, but it's not as classic hidden identity. So it's not like, say, if you know what the Goose Girl retelling is, it's basically the real princess basically has a hidden identity. She is a Goose Girl, or, you know, a servant or something, and her servant is the princess, and that is like the hidden identity thing, because the real princess is hidden. It's not quite as literal as that, but it is still a hidden identity, so I think it counts. And I'm going with, well, the series more than this specific book, but this specific book counts. And the book I picked up is In This Moment by Gabrielle Meyer. This is book 2 in the Timeless series. And if any of you know the series, it's a Christian series, it's historical. Usually there's 2 timelines, sometimes there's 3. So this one in particular has 3 timelines. And basically it's about these, usually women, but I know in the more recent one there's a man who are time crossers, where they basically live a day in each timeline. So if it's only your typical 2, they spend one day in one timeline, and when they go to sleep in that timeline, they wake up and spend the day in the next one. And then when they go to sleep in that one, they wake up in the other timeline again, and so on and so forth. And I'm picking this series as hidden identity because they kind of have to keep it secret, especially in historical times. Because imagine, you know, talking about being a time crosser in, you know, during the witch trials, which I know is a timeline in the 3rd one. You know, you can imagine that they would probably be called a witch. So it's very much a hidden identity. You know, you're not really meant to tell people. So, you know, that part of the characters' lives is hidden. So I would say that counts as a hidden identity, because in each year, you know, they keep the other year hidden from the majority of people. Now, sometimes, like, they might have someone they trust. Like, say, in the first book, her mum, I think it's Maggie in the first book. Nope, Maggie isn't. It's Maggie's this one. Let's say the first book's... No. If any of you have read this series, you know who I mean. Not the original woman, but the original woman in the series, in the first book, she and her daughter know that each of them were / are time crossers in this book. So, like, sometimes there are people that the character can trust to know that they are time crossers, but generally no one knows about it. So I would say that counts as hidden identity. If you don't agree, that's perfectly fine. The next one is Barbie in the Magic of Pegasus, or Pegasus, anyway. And that is a book with great banter. And that one was hard to do, because I honestly don't know. Like, does it have to be great banter between the love interests, or just banter in general? So I had a hard time looking for that one. I did find one, and I'm trying to remember which one I picked. I seem to have not picked a book for this one. With great banter. If I can do it where you don't have to have them as love interests, I would say A Royal Masquerade by Alison Tebow is definitely one that had great banter. It mainly follows a couple of the characters from book 1, which was A Royal Masquerade. Yes. No, that's the book I was just saying. No, the first... I did this last time. Well, not last time. I did this in my head too. The first book... Okay, so... The first book in the series is A Reluctant Godfather. It's a fairy tale retelling series by Alison Tebow. She's a Christian author. So far there's no actual Christianity in it, but there are definitely if not allegory, because I haven't noticed any, doesn't mean I wasn't, I just didn't notice it, but there's certainly Christian morals and ethics, kind of like River Thieving Curse. And in book 2, A Royal Masquerade, it follows 2 of the characters from book 1, and that is the Godfather, which is Burnley, and actually his ward or guard, not guard, I don't know, the human that he's supposed to kind of look after, be a guardian to, because he's a fairy godfather, is Prince Colin. And it mainly follows them, I don't know how long, but it must have been maybe a year or more after the first book, but it doesn't actually say the timeline. But in the second book, both of them are already married to their respective love interests from book 1, which obviously I won't talk about. But you don't really see their love interest much until basically the end. It mainly follows the 2 of them, and this book is basically a Goose Girl retelling, and so we see them on the day before the wedding of Colin's cousin Horace and a princess from a place called Victoria, or something like that. I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce it. But basically an alliance between the 2 of them. And basically that book is an absolute mess. And when I say mess, I don't mean it's bad. I mean the mess is in there is a lot of stuff going wrong, and it's just an absolute wild ride. It is absolutely hilarious, and there's a lot of banter between Burnley and Colin, because they've known each other for about 10 years-ish. Oh no, they'll be longer. They've known each other Colin's whole life. I don't know how old Burnley's supposed to be, with him being a fairy, but yeah, there's just basically some great banter between the 2 of them, absolutely hilarious. So yes, I'm going to pick that one for a book with great banter. Does that mean that's the only book? No, I will have read other books that have great banter. I just can't think of them. And some of them I'm like, I think this had great banter, but it's been so long that I don't remember, so I'm just going to go with that one, because that one's a recent read. That is literally from this month. So there we go. But yeah, A Royal Masquerade by Alison Tebow, definitely a book with great banter. The next one is Barbie in the 12 Dancing Princesses, and this is a book about siblings. And again, I could have had all sorts of books for this one, but the one I decided to go with is a book that I really loved the sibling dynamics in. It was quite an emotional book because of that. Not quite, there's been more emotional books, but yeah, and that's mainly in the past timeline. So this is a dual timeline book, and that is The Lost Boys of Barlow Theatre by Jamie Jo Wright. This is Christian, historical / present day as well. Fiction, I think they call it suspense, romantic suspense-ish. It kind of, I don't toe the line, but it kind of has that sort of Scooby-Doo-esque supernatural sort of theme where things are happening that sound like it could be ghostly or supernaturally, but by the end of the book it all gets wrapped up and it's all just plausible human people, not supernatural. So it's not actually, if you don't like supernatural stuff, this book, and actually a lot of her books, because this sort of thing Jamie Jo writes. And so this one is a dual timeline of present day and 1915-ish, and they're in the 1915 timeline. This eldest daughter is having to look after her younger siblings, and there's a lot going on about that. One of them goes missing, and they're trying to find him, And so, yeah, there's some lovely sibling dynamics, some heartbreaking ones as well, because there's poor, so they're struggling for money, and they're in danger of going into, I think it's called the poor houses, but you know, those places that are not great for that. So yeah, yeah, it had some lovely sibling dynamics. I don't remember there being any sibling dynamics in the present day timeline, other than maybe close friends, but again, it's kind of a exasperating relationship, so not necessarily a good one in that way, but the historical one was definitely a good one for that sibling dynamic, for in a positive light. So yeah, I picked that one. Again, there's others I could have picked, but I thought that was the best bet because they were actually siblings. Because there are some where they're not really siblings, but kind of. But I decided to go with like actual blood siblings. The next one is Barbie in the Island Princess, I think. And that is a book that is an original story but feels like a fairy tale. So like, you know, based on a fairy tale sort of thing. And the book I picked is, when I show it, if you've watched any of my videos, you're probably not surprised about. And as far as I know, it is an original tale, even though it is based off of a different book / film. Neither of those are actual fairy tales, although again, you could call that an original story that feels like a fairy tale. So, you know, I could always use both. And that is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is a standalone novel but set in the Cosmere universe. And this is kind of based on The Princess Bride with a few differences. It's kind of more if the roles between Wesley and Buttercup were swapped. So like Wesley is the one who's captured and and Buttercup is the one who goes on the adventures and goes looking for the love interest. Kind of, I think I'm explaining that wrong, but it's based off The Princess Bride. Princess Bride, you could also count for a book that's an original book but could feel like a fairy tale because it very much is. But that is also what this feels like, even though it's kind of toes the line between sci-fi and fantasy, because some of the stuff, because on another planet, the sea isn't the sea like we think of the sea here on Earth. So there's definitely sci-fi elements, but also fantasy as well. And yeah, this feels like a fairy tale. It has everything in it. In like genre-wise, it's funny, it's romantic, there's adventure and action, there's emotional moments, there's twists, there's a little bit of magic, as well as the sci-fi element of being on a different planet and stuff like that. So which is why I say it's kind of sci-fi and fantasy. But yeah, this definitely feels like a fairy tale, but isn't technically. So yeah, I would say this, and also because it's connected, The Princess Bride also counts for that prompt. I didn't think she used that. Also, I don't know if I actually have The Princess Bride. I used to. I'm sure I still have it. Anyway, that doesn't matter. That's a completely different subject. So, the next one is Barbie Mariposa. That is the fairy one, I think, or based on that. And that is a book with a bookish character. And of course, there's a few books I could have picked for that one. But I decided to go with one of my physical books. And I decided to go with The Mistletoe Countess by Pepper Basham. Again, Christian historical fiction. And I would say Christian historical mystery. Although, because this is book one in the Freddie and Grace Mysteries series, I would say this first book is heavier on the romance than the mystery, but there is a mystery. But I would say The Carol Curse, which is the second one, is less romance heavy. So, and it's more about the mystery. I don't know about the others. I haven't got to the others. I think there's 4 in total now, including this one and Carol Curse. But I've only read the first 2 so far. I love this series, and I can't wait to get to the third one, which is the Juliet Code. But I picked this one for a book about a bookish character because Grace, especially in this book, but also in the others, is very bookish. She loves reading. She references different books in this book, especially. She probably does in the Cairo Curse too, but I can't remember right now. But I do remember she does in this because she mentions things like about Sherlock, because she loves a mystery. So when there's a mystery going on, she's like, oh yeah, well, we have to solve this. Fantastic. Absolutely love her. If you love Anne of Green Gables, I would say she's very similar to Anne Shirley, especially the younger Anne Shirley in like the first book especially. Except less childish because obviously Anne is like 10, 11 at the start of the book anyway. But yeah, definitely a bookish character. There's other books I could have used. One is another fairy tale retelling by Melanie Cellier, and that would be The Princess Companion, the first book in her Four Kingdoms series. I would also say the main character, I think her name is Alyssa. An honourable mention, she's also a very bookish character. But I'm gonna go with Grace, I think. Right. The next one is Barbie in the Diamond Castle, and that is a book with a great friendship. And again, there's loads of books I could have used for that. But the book I'm going to choose is one of the 3 non-Christian books that I picked, ironically. And that is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. This is well, no, technically there is another book. I can't remember if that was a sequel or it was before this book, but I don't think it really matters too much. Anyway, this is a secular, I think it's a rom-com, certainly a romance, and it's contemporary, set in the modern day. This was really good. There's a brilliant friendship group, mainly for the guy love interest, his friend Nathan. He has a friendship group because is he a footballer, an American footballer? Yeah, he's been in the NFL, and his friendship group with his team is just, I love it. They are more like brothers than friends, and it's such a great friendship group. There's also great banter because between them as well. And by the end of the book, because obviously this is a romance, you all know that the main 2 get together, but they become like brothers and a great friendship group to the female main character as well. What's her name? Brie. And so yeah, really good. This is one of Sarah Adams' older books, so the romantic content, shall we say, isn't as spicy as some of her more recent books. There's no open door scenes. I think was there Fade to Black? It's been a while. So there's definitely times where they do toe the line a bit, depending on your personal views about lead-ups or just make-out scenes. Some of them might be a bit too much for you, depending on your personal comfortability and viewpoints. Because it definitely toed the line for me, because I was a bit like, is this too much? Is it a bit too spicy? Getting on the spicy end, I don't know. But yeah, certainly compared to her more recent 2, at least, from the When in Rome series, the most recent 2, compared to those 2, which I've not read but I have heard about in terms of their content, I don't think it's as spicy as those. But yeah, you kind of have to make up your own mind with that, because obviously each to your own sort of thing. But yeah, this had me kicking my feet, by the way, with the romance. The romance is so cute. Love it. So yeah, that one has not great banter, although it does have great banter. That one has a great friendship. And then the next one is Barbie and the 3 Musketeers, and that is a book with a warrior female character. Again, there's a few I could use. There's a few that aren't specifically warriors, but certainly have that sort of warrior-like character. So like Grace in Freddy and Grace Mysteries even though she's not a warrior, she is very much involved in the action scenes that she's involved in. She doesn't shy away from it, despite, especially because it's historical fiction, she doesn't shy away from the fight, so to speak, much to her Freddy's horror, I think. Joins in though in the end. So there are some that others that I could definitely use. Tress, again, we'll see again. Tress is, I would call, a warrior character, but the main one that I decided to pick, because again I wanted to try and have different books for each prompt, I decided to go with the female main character in this duology by Morgan L. Bussey. So the duology is Skyworld. This particular book is book 2, Blood Secrets, and the first one is Secrets in the Mist. And the main character, what's her name? No, Cass. I would say she's definitely a warrior main character, especially in the second one, because it ramps and continues on from book 1 and everything's more ramped up. The stakes are higher, and you definitely see more of her fighting in this book, but you see it in the first book too. So yeah, I would definitely call her a warrior female main character. This is a Christian fiction, steampunk sort of book. It's kind of like, again, kind of sci-fi and fantasy, because the sci-fi elements with the steampunk style, because they have things like blimps, there's castles or mansions in the sky, so to speak, like islands and stuff in the sky, and kind of indicated in the series title, Skyworld. And basically this duology is set, I don't know how much time in the past, but something happens in the past where there's basically zombies. There's a mist that infects people and they become zombies essentially, and they're trying to, basically there might be a way where they can fix it, and that's what this duology is about. And so it definitely has a few of those fantastical elements, but also the sci-fi as well. So yes, the main character cast is definitely a character I would call a warrior main character, who is female. So that is the penultimate question. Let's see what the last one is. So the last one is Barbie Princess Charm School, and that is a book with a school setting. And again, there's a few I could have used, not loads, but a few. And I had a hard time picking which one. So I decided to go with quite a modern classic, and again, not really a Christian book. Yeah, no, I told you the other one was. But I decided to go with the Harry Potter series, because even if you haven't read or watched the books, no. Even if you haven't read the books or watched the films, you'll probably know that it's all set in a school. So, Harry Potter. This particular one is the first one, Philosopher's Stone, or for you Americans, the Sorcerer's Stone. So yeah, I picked that one for a school setting. And that is all of the books and prompts. I hope you enjoyed. I know you didn't tag me, Morgan, but thank you for doing this tag though, because it's so cool. I absolutely love it. I love Barbie. At least the Barbie films. I don't have any Barbies. I used to, and then got rid of them as a kid, older kid, because I never really used them. Grew out of them, so to speak. But I've always loved the Barbie movies. They've always had a special place in my heart. And yeah, most of these I have seen. I haven't seen The Island Princess or Princess Charm School. And I've seen The Three Musketeers once. But all the others I have seen at least once. Some of them more than once. One that isn't on here is Swan Lake. That is one I've seen a lot as well. Again, that's one of the original ones. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Trying to remember who's done it. Obviously this tag is open to anyone. Make sure you tag Morgan, especially because she created this tag. And if you want to tag me as well, I would love that as well, especially if I'm not necessarily following you. It means I can have a look at the books you picked. If you don't want to do this tag, you can always answer them in the comments, or you can just answer just one or two of them. I'll make sure to put the prompts in the description. I usually try to when I do a tag. So I will do that. And do I want to tag anyone specifically? That is a good question. I won't tag anyone specifically because I don't know who would want to do this tag. I'm sure there's loads of you. Maybe. So I'm just going to leave it open. If you want to do this tag, you are welcome to. No tea or coffee today, just water. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Let me know what books you'd pick for these prompts if you don't want to do an actual video. And yeah, let me know if you love the Barbie films, and let me know which one's your favourite. And let me know which one's your least favourite. I'd like to know that. And whether you've seen a lot of them or not. I've not really seen any of the more recent ones. Probably since about the Island Princess, I haven't really watched any of them from that one onwards, I don't think, apart from maybe the odd one. I was kind of getting a little bit old for them, so I wasn't really watching them. But yeah, let me know. I don't know which one's my favourite. I love all of the originals. Some of them I love the music even more as well. Like the Diamond Castle one, the music, love it. Princess and the Pauper, again, love the music. And then the Nutcracker's classic. Swan Lake, you know, Rapunzel. I'm just going to be here all day, so yeah, let me know. And thank you for watching. I often don't say this, but I thought I'll say this time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and obviously leave a comment. If you don't know what to leave, I know this has been quite popular where people say to leave a emoji. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of princesses, so maybe leave something that's royalty, like a crown or a castle. Sort of thing, because a lot of the Barbie films are princess specific. So yeah, maybe do something like that, because I don't think there's a particular Barbie one. So yeah, if you don't know what to say, you can always leave a princess or royalty sort of emoji, like connected. And yeah, thank you for watching. I love you all, and God bless. Bye.